Welcome to Hustle and Flow with Heather Hubbard, episode number 48. Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard, and I was a litigator, partner, and practice group leader at an AmLaw 200 firm. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your personal life. So how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you embrace your ambition without selling your soul? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Welcome back. I am your host, Heather Hubbard. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you are having a wonderful 2018 so far. Today, I am taking you behind the scenes and sharing with you a review of 2017 for me, both in terms of my wins as well as my lessons learned, my mistakes that you do not need to repeat, so I will share them with you, as well as what's ahead for 2018. I really wasn't sure about recording this because it felt a bit narcissistic to just talk about myself the whole time. But I do keep having people ask me, why did you make certain changes in your business and where are you going? So I thought, you know what? I'll just share this with you today. So to the extent that you are interested in knowing kind of what happened this past year for me and what's coming up, this is your chance to get a behind the scenes look. And I don't generally share a lot of details about either what I'm going through in the moment or even what's coming up ahead, partly because I think it's that lawyer brain, right? It's like the conditioning of, do I really want to admit this stuff right now? It's easier to just keep it to yourself sometimes, and then you let other people know later. And if it didn't work out, maybe you don't let anyone know at all. So this is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, because I think we can all learn from each other, and being just more frank and honest is probably a good thing for all of us in 2018. Okay, so 2017 was huge for me in many different ways. And if you follow me on social media, mostly Facebook and Instagram, you know that I have a word for the year. You probably do this, or at least you know people that do this, where you have one word that's really your purpose, your intention, your priority for the year. It's kind of like a vision board. And if you missed that episode, it was during the holidays, you might have checked out. It was episode number 46. It's how to create a vision board. It's a wonderful tool. I love it. I have mine created for the year. I have a tradition where I change it out on my birthday. It's hanging up in my office. It's like a vision board, your word for the year. It's really just a reminder to keep you focused on what it is that you want. And it helps you make decisions when you're trying to figure out your priorities. So my word, I guess, just to kind of go back a little bit, for those of you that don't know, I started my company. I left my firm in October of 2014, the end of October 2014, and really started the new company in November of 2014. And when I did that, I gave myself permission to just be creative and play for 2 years. The goal was just to have fun, to try things out, to not be too serious, to not worry about whether something was going to work or not work, to not worry about whether it was perfect, to just put things out there, find out what I really enjoyed, find out what, my clients really enjoyed, and then go from there. And that truly is what I did. And, I was teaching meditation classes in my home. Those were so fun. I really enjoyed those. I did more of like a spiritual retreat. I did individual coaching, a lot of individual coaching. I did some workshops. I did all kinds of things. And the company, you may not know this, was called The Language of Joy. I really was trying to embrace this new side that I had never had before, which was really more mindful and intentional and a bit more laid back than my typical workaholic personality. And while I was super serious about my business, I did play, I created, I had fun. I just put stuff out there and I let my perfectionist tendencies go to the wayside. So In maybe the summer of 2016, I started seeing kind of where the business was going, what was working, what wasn't working. Honestly, the pendulum had swung too far on the flow piece for me. I used to be all hustle, and then I swung way too far on all flow, and it was really bringing it back together, somewhere in the middle, which is why I call this hustle and flow. And so I had that vision and talked to a coach about that vision, a few coaches, and really decided that that's what I was going to commit to. But it was really scary because one part of the plan was to let go of the name, The Language of Joy, because it didn't really represent working with lawyers. And two, it just scared a lot of people off, to be quite honest. People didn't know how to handle that. Joy in the law is scary for many people, and law firms especially couldn't really handle it. So there was that. And I knew I was moving more into this really business strategic place, which is my zone of genius. But I think I'd pushed off a little bit for those 2 years when I was just creating and playing. And so I knew that was coming, and I didn't know how it would go. And this was the year it was like time to get serious. So my word for 2017 was growth. Anytime I had a decision to make, I looked at that vision board, I considered my word growth, and it helped me decide. And that meant that I really put myself out there. I really got outside of my comfort zone. And it was not in a creative and playful way. It was in I don't know if this is going to work. I'm really scared, but I'm here to grow. This year is about growth. And that was personally as well. Personally and professionally, I was committed to growth. And boy, did I grow. But I experienced a lot of growing pains as well. So I thought I would go through that with you. Here's what all changed last year. Looking back, it's really amazing that I was able to do that much. But, you know, part of it is I'm a Capricorn. I'm a hard worker. It's just that's my personality. But I really did use, my planning tools, my process to make sure that I was staying focused on one thing at a time in order to really knock it all out. So it started with a rebrand. It's no longer The Language of Joy. It's Heather Hubbard. And I could not get Heather Hubbard from heatherhubbard.com to even respond to my requests to purchase her website. I'm not even going to go into all of that. If anyone knows her, please tell her to just respond to me. But so I went with the website heatherjoyhubbard.com. And that is my middle name, and definitely part of why it was a play on words when I did The Language of Joy. So I did a complete rebrand, and I hired someone to do that. I made a big investment in that, and I still work with that designer. I love her. I did a brand new website, completely new website, and it definitely represents the new brand. So that was a big investment, a lot of work. The biggest thing really was a brand new suite of products and services. So I had been working through them. I had it all designed out, and it was really just implementing. So the first thing was creating an ebook called The Life and Law Blueprint. And if you don't have a copy, you can get one. It's heatherjoyhubbard.com/blueprint. And it's absolutely free. So I'm really, really proud of that. And then I launched this podcast. It's been almost a year now. I launched it at the end of February. My goal was to launch it in June, and my coach pushed me and said, no, you're going to get it out now. And he helped me do that. And I'm so glad he did, because the podcast has just been such a highlight of 2017. I adore it. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it. So I did the podcast, and after that, I did my beta program for Career Clarity. It's an online program. It's a lot of what I had been doing with individual clients. But one of the things I decided for 2017 was that I was no longer going to do individual coaching. It was really draining for me and not really the best use of what I do best. I'm really, really good at high-level strategy. And a lot of times when people come in for individual coaching, they're needing more hand-holding than that high-level strategy. And although I can do hand-holding, it's just It's not my zone of genius, and it's very draining for me. I like a lot of action, and so the hand-holding can sometimes wear on me. So I moved from the individual coaching to just providing individual coaching for those in my masterminds. So I did that in 2017. And I guess going back, so I was doing the individual coaching, said I wouldn't do it anymore, but so many people needed the career clarity piece. I did the beta programs in July and September for that. And it's all online. It was a lot of fun to do. And then moving to the masterminds. So I do those. I put together an individual group. I just wrapped up last year's, and I am kicking off the new year this week. So I'm really excited about working with them again. But so it's limited, right? They're the only people I work with individually. And because we're working together for a whole year, it's very rewarding for me. And then I also do law firm masterminds, and those are just as much fun. So it's the same small group, but at large firms. So everybody is at the same firm. And the individual coaching, those generally, every program is a bit different, but I do those quarterly for the most part. So it's not every single month. And such rewarding programs. Those are my favorite programs, and we'll get to that more in 2018. I also continued with the retreat, the Life and Law and Balance retreat. And I have to tell you, that is my absolute favorite thing that I do. Hands down, every time I go to the retreat, it changes me. And it always changes the people that go. And when they say, like, how do I describe this? This was so life-changing, but how do I describe it? I always say, some things are just meant for yourself. And so I wish I could figure out how to message that so that other people could really understand what it meant to go and experience it. But that is definitely it is my favorite thing in the business. And then I started doing just strategy days. So working one-on-one with people for a full day. So no implementation, just strategy. And firms. So small firms, going in and doing a day or two with them on that. So that really was the new setup. And it worked very well. I also hired an assistant and started doing a lot more outsourcing. Before that, I did everything. I mean, it wasn't Heather Joy Hubbard. It was Heather Scrappy Hubbard. From coding, like, I don't know how to code, but guess what? I figured it out. I got on YouTube and figured it out. To web design, designing on social media. I mean, anything and everything that came up, I just did on my own. I didn't hire it out because I had a very limited budget. And that changed in 2017. I started investing in the company. So that's what happened a lot. Here's where it hurt. Here are, I hate to call them mistakes. They're not mistakes. They're not failures. They are lessons learned. But, all of that growth did not come without some major hurt. Okay, so I've got 4 big ones, really. The first was hiring, right? I mean, that was a win. Having an assistant and starting to outsource my work was a huge win, but it was really difficult getting there. There were many different people that I tried to work with that didn't work out, people that I very much love and respect, and it just didn't work out. And then people that I didn't know, but, went through the process of talking to different people, meeting with different people, and then you make the best decision that you can, and then it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would. And, you're not happy, they're not happy. That was hard. And I know a lot of you out there are solo attorneys, and so you feel me. Hiring is a very complicated, hard process, and I'm still learning about it. Getting it right, I don't know if there's a perfect way to even go about doing it. I am learning. And I think part of it is I see the good in people, and I see potential in people even when they don't see it. And so sometimes I think I overestimate what someone is willing to do. And I also just really connect with people and like them and then think, oh, this is going to be great. And it's not. They don't fully understand me or my vision. And I am a visionary, and it's so easy for me to see how things will work, but it's not always easy for me to articulate it. And when people work with me, it can be frustrating when I have this vision and they don't understand it. And so they're still trying to do what they're just used to doing. And if you've listened to me for very long, you know that I really like to push boundaries. I like to do things differently. I like to think outside the box. So when people are using formulas or just trying to take my vision and, put it in their box, it doesn't work for me. And then when it doesn't work for me, I think it disappoints them as well. But of course, I paid for it. I'm the one spending the money. So I'm the one that really, I think, felt that the most. I think for providers, it may hurt them in the sense that they wanted to do well and I wasn't maybe satisfied, or, we didn't get the results we wanted. But for me, I'm the one that paid the money, and I'm the one that spent all of the time trying to find the right person, and then trying to find the next right person, and then trying to find the next right person. There's one particular position I have. I'm on the third person already in a year. And every time it doesn't work out, my tendency is to be like, oh, I'll just do it myself. I don't know if you guys experience that, but I think you do. It's this thought that we can do everything better than others. It's like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. So I'll just do it. And it's easier to do it myself than to keep spending time trying to find the right person. But the truth is, we don't have time. We don't have the time to give. And kind of going back to that zone of genius, if it's not the best use of our time, we really have to hire it out. And so that was a huge growing pain for me. And I suspect it will continue to be a growing pain, is being willing to continue to try to get this hiring thing down right and finding the right people that are really a good match. So that was number one. That was hard. Number two, even though it is my absolute favorite thing, and I don't regret it in any way, it was one of the retreats last year. So when I did my first retreat at Miraval in November of 2016, it was limited to partners or partner level attorneys, because I really thought that was missing in our industry, that people weren't able to have those high level discussions in a safe environment. And so that's why I created it. But I got a lot of pushback, and I had associates and in-house counsel say, I want to be included too. And I listened to that, and I thought, well, I'll maybe open up a second one, but I was on the fence. And then I had someone give me advice that I should definitely go ahead and add a second retreat, even though I just had one under my belt. And I did sell it out. They said you should absolutely just go ahead and do two. If you absolutely love it, it's your favorite thing to do, you should do two. Open one up and then do the other just for partners. And I had someone that wanted to do that with me. And she was going to basically help mostly fill the retreat with her attendees. She has a very big audience. And at the last minute, she pulled out. And at that point, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to move forward with the contract anyway. And it didn't work. It did not work. Now, let me just say, those that came to the June retreat were amazing in every way. And I know I was supposed to be there with them, and their transformation and my transformation was 100% worth it. But from a business perspective, I lost a lot of money on that. I did not have a single associate or in-house attorney sign up. So that was a lesson learned. Sometimes when people tell you they want things, they just want it theoretically. They're not actually willing to go through with it. I only assume. I don't know. So I am a lot more careful in listening to feedback. So it's not that I'm not open to feedback, but I think I've learned that it's important to take it a bit with a grain of salt, especially if the feedback you are receiving is from people that haven't purchased from you before and you've not worked with before. So you don't know if they really mean it or not. But yeah, it was scary for me. So I will tell you, I only had 4 people signed up. 4 people, only 4 people. And, I had guaranteed a certain amount of rooms, and I thought about canceling it, but I just wasn't willing to do it, because even though the contract provided that I could cancel, I knew that people had made their, flight arrangements and otherwise. And I just was not going to do that. If people wanted to show up, I was going to be there, even if it meant losing money. That was a business decision I made, and I would make it again. And I'll continue to do that in the future because integrity is so important to me. I ended up having 2 more people come at the last minute, literally like a week or 2 before they decided to join. And so I ended up with 6, but that was still really small for me. And because I was going to lose money, I went ahead and said, well, let's just upgrade it. If I'm spending the money, let's at least get, what it's worth. So we ended up being in a villa. It was an amazing retreat. I love those women. Again, don't regret it. But I will say that was one where I probably should have followed my own intuition more than others. So when you listen to advice, even if it's from coaches, strategists, when you have other people telling you they want to partner with you, when you have clients telling you they want something from you, it doesn't always work out. I did that June retreat for others, not because I thought it was a good idea. And I paid for that. I paid for that one dearly. So, I think now I'm going to trust my intuition more. And I'm not just going to make decisions based on what others suggest unless I have fully, thought it out and I can 100% get behind it as well. I think June was a bad time of year too. I don't know, but you can always try to analyze things and figure it out, but hard to tell. But I'm just trying to be honest and transparent on that. I think sometimes it's easy to look at, from the outside in and think, oh, everything's amazing. Like she never runs into issues. But, that was a big one. And it was really hard for me. It was very upsetting. Mistake number 3, travel. I overcommitted. I thought I could handle it and I couldn't. And I think I already shared this in a previous episode, running on empty. And I cannot remember the number, but it was in November. And I kind of shared how that went down, but I had rules about my travel schedule that I had followed up until the fall because, there were great opportunities. I didn't want to say no, but, I didn't listen to my own advice, which is, we all know from episode 8, saying yes means no. Saying yes to all of those opportunities meant saying no to my self-care and my energy. And it was way too much. It was way too much. And I had a hard time being fully present, which is a huge no-no for me. And that's something I've learned from. And I have new boundaries in place that I am 100% following. I don't care what the opportunity is. And in fact, the things that I want to do, but I don't know if they'll work out, I've put them in my calendar. And so they're part of the plan. They can come out towards the end, but otherwise they are part of the plan. And part of that for 2018 will be that I am going to be a lot pickier about my speaking travel. Prices are going up. That's one way to be pickier. But otherwise, if it doesn't fit within my travel schedule that I have set, it doesn't really matter what they're going to pay. But that's what we do, right? We see these opportunities and we're like, I can't pass that up. And that opportunity may involve a lot of money. And so if we're already really busy as attorneys, if we get a potential case that's going to take a lot out of us, but we see the money, sometimes we agree to do it anyway. We kind of throw our rules, our boundaries out the window because we see the money and we're like, I could really use the money. But that never pays off, right? I mean, we pay for it in the end. So I have my new rules, my new boundaries for the year. I'm going to be much pickier about my speaking engagements. It doesn't really matter who it is. It doesn't really matter how much they're paying. If it doesn't work within my schedule, the answer is no. And I'm working on more or less putting things together. So trying to do more than one event for each trip so that I can have more bang for my buck. But that was a lesson learned. And then the last lesson learned was waiting too long to launch the website. So I started that in February and I did not launch it until August. It took way too long. And here's why. I'm a perfectionist. Oh, it's so frustrating. I want things to be perfect. And honestly, Career Clarity that's coming out in January, it should have come out before that. But again, I'm trying to get this perfect and I see what's happening and I'm trying to let it go. But my tendency is to want things to be perfect. And perfect's not always possible. And I think sometimes it's better to just get things out there. You know, the podcast, on that one, I just got it out there and it has been wonderful. The website, I sat on it forever trying to get it perfect. I finally released it and, you know, it really helped my business. And it was just silly for me to sit on it for that long. So that's a lesson I suspect, unfortunately, I'm going to continue to be learning. But it's when we procrastinate because we're trying to get something perfect, it hurts everybody involved and mostly ourselves. So that was a huge lesson for me as well, is that I still have some lessons to learn around that, and that trying to get things perfect really gets in my head and gets in my way. All right. 2017. And I was just speaking professionally on that one. We're not even going to go into how I feel about everything else about 2017. But it was good. There was a lot of growth. I learned a lot. Yeah. So 2018, what is going on? All right. So first, let me share with you my word if you didn't see it. I was in Dallas actually in October with an amazing group of girls, women, that invited me to come hang out with them. And I didn't know them, but I'm so glad I went. They were so awesome. And one person said, you know, what's everybody's word for the year? And it just came to me. I just knew immediately. And I've embraced it the whole time. Like, it's not changed. And the word is Beyonce. And, you know, that can mean a lot of different things, but I know what it means to me. And I know why it's going to help me stay focused and prioritize. You know, what would Beyonce do is really the question. And I hope to channel her all year long in 2018. But I've got this funny gif of her with her Wonder Woman shirt on while she's skating. So you can check that out on Instagram or Facebook if you want. But that's my word. That is my word for 2018, Beyonce. And what that looks like in terms of what you might see, I'm really building out the rest of the plan that I envisioned in 2017. So half of the plan was rolled out last year and the rest of it will be rolled out this year. And it's big stuff. Like I'm going to have to step into some big shoes in order to get all of this done, but it's underway and I'm really, really excited about it. The first thing is that Career Clarity will be live and online and available all year long, anytime anyone needs some help in that area. And it's not the beta, it's the full-blown thing. And although I'm trying to get it perfect, I'm letting go of the fact that it's not going to be. Anyone that signs up gets lifetime access, which means anytime I update it, the perfectionist in me will always be updating it. I know that, one, it's amazing to begin with, but two, I can continue to make it better and people can enjoy those upgrades as the years progress. The other is that I think I mentioned this last week, I'm doing a physical planner and I'm so excited about this planner. I am a planner junkie and the concept is really, it is for lawyers and I've got everything designed out. I'm working with the same designer that did my rebrand. Super excited about it. I am getting feedback. Now, on the feedback, basically, I've already talked about my lessons learned on feedback. I'm not trying to make everybody happy. I know that people are going to want things in ways that I can't give it to them. And some people are going to have feedback and never buy the planner, right? So you got to be careful how much feedback you get. But I am definitely interested in whether or not people think it works for them the same way it works for me. So I think I shared last week and I'll share again this week. If you want in that Facebook group, it's a closed group, but I'm inviting people in to basically you get my free templates and then there's surveys for you to give me feedback on them. So if you want in on that, you can reach out to my assistant. You can just email support@heatherjoyhubbard.com and just let us know that you want to be in that group to play with the planner and give me feedback on it. All right. So that will be coming out. It will actually be, and because, I've got high standards, it's going to be a really nice planner, like really thick paper where when you write with your pen, like there's no bleed or see-through. It's going to be very aesthetically pleasing, really high quality stuff. So that should be ready I hope to have them in hand in November. So some people will get to pick theirs up in November. Other people, it will all be shipped in December. So super, super excited about that. But I'm doing a lot of work on it right now because it takes a ton of lead time. So the people that get to pick it up in November, I'm doing a live event. So this isn't the retreat, and it's not like one of my local CLEs. It's not really a conference. This goes back to I've got the vision, but can't always articulate it. Just got to keep working with my sketches. It's kind of like a conference, but not really, in that it is not corporate. It is not stuffy. It is not a bunch of panels. It is not going to be cold either. We are not having a conference room where it's freezing, just FYI. I'm looking at some really cool venues so that it's creative and fun. We're going to have music. There are going to be fun activities. And we're going to do stuff. We're going to implement. So we're going to do basically a review of 2018 and then prepare for 2019. And you're going to have time to implement there. It'll be classroom style. So everybody has, space to write, do the work. And there'll be some really cool, fun speakers come in occasionally as well to just break things up and get you really excited and motivated. The CLE has not been approved, but I plan to apply for it. And based on having taught this stuff before, it should, fingers crossed, get approved. So if you're doing your 2018 planning for your conferences or travel, be sure to hold that to come see me. I don't know where it's going to be. We're looking at Nashville. We're looking at San Diego. We're looking kind of all over. So if you've got thoughts or cool venues that you want to shoot my way, send me an email. But I would love to have you at that live event, and you'll be able to pick up your planner there. We're going to be working in the planner at the event. So it's kind of all connected. Other than that, I plan to do more law firm masterminds. Love, 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 love working with partners at large law firms in these small cohorts. If you are at a large firm where you want to do something new and innovative and different with either your women's group or your diversity council committee, whatever you call it at your firm, I would love to talk to you. They are a lot of fun and they get results, not just in terms of helping build business and promotions from income to equity or up the tiers, but also in terms of connecting you with others within your firm and getting excited again. I mean, the idea is to help retain and promote women and other underrepresented attorneys and law firms. So if you would like to know more about that, I would love to talk to you because I am looking at doing more of those this year. And then last, this one's been a little bit longer than usual. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Last, I may or may not do the retreat this year. It's causing me a lot of heartache. It is my favorite thing to do, but it does require a large investment from me on the front end. And if I have a situation again where people don't show up, then, it puts me in a bind. And given what all I have going on, even though a lot of it's going on behind the scenes, I don't have a lot of bandwidth. And so I think you guys know from what I teach that you have to stay really, really focused. And although I can go do the retreat in my sleep because it is just an extension of who I am, it still takes a lot of work to market it and get it filled up. And we were working on the contract. I think I told you we were about to announce it. I was moving forward with it. But just this past week, we've learned there's some shakeups, some changes at Miraval. And I'm not sure that it's the perfect fit at the moment. So if any of you were like really looking forward to the retreat at Miraval this year, I was going to do it in the spring. If any of you guys are like, I 100% would go to that tomorrow, I will give you a deposit tomorrow. And that's the kind of feedback you want to give me, which is like, here's my money. We are going to Miraval. Then reach out. Otherwise, we may take a break this year, which again breaks my heart. But at least at the moment, it's probably not going to happen unless a lot of people say they absolutely want to do it. Otherwise, time-wise, maybe it'll happen later in the year, but I can't make any promises. So that's it. That's kind of everything that happened in 2017. Lots of growth, lots of growing pains. 2018, really filling out the rest of the plan. It's going to keep me super busy, especially this first quarter, but I'm really looking forward to it. I am so excited. about meeting more people, seeing more people, helping more people. And I thank you for joining me each week. I hope that I get to see you in person at some point this year or otherwise get to work with you. And I hope that, you get to embrace your Sasha Fierce as well for 2018. And yeah, here's to a lot of success and abundance and peace and joy for all of us in 2018. Thanks, guys. For show notes, downloads, and other free resources, and to keep the conversation going, head on over to hustleandflowpodcast.com. See you there.